Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I just wanted to tell you the topic for today is messy is beautiful. I have a saying that people just cringe when they hear me saying this, but it's really true. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Yes, I said poorly. Anything worth doing is worth doing messy. Now, I don't think you should go and try to do something poorly or try to do something messy. I think when you are afraid of doing it messy or you're afraid you won't be really good at it or perfect, you just don't do anything. And so sometimes just telling yourself it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, it's okay if it's really messy, but you're going to do it anyway. That momentum that you build in the process of doing something, you're going to learn how to do it better as you go anyway. So why not go ahead and put out your messy? Kill that pride, kill that thing in us that says, oh, what will they think of me if I don't do this perfectly? I can tell you I've done so many things in my life that were so far from perfect, I can't even compare. Can't even compare to doing it well when I started. I have done things like poorly, I've done them messy, I've done them, well, I'm just going to say I've done them. That's the key word. It's not that they needed to be messy, and it's not that I wanted them to not be beautiful or perfect, but I went ahead and took the chance on getting it done, whatever it was. We have a class we teach called Collab 101 class, and that class has been messy. There have been lives changed in that class. There's been businesses changed in that class. There have been some major collaborations come from that class, but it's been messy. So I'm here to tell you messy is beautiful. Messy can be the best thing that happens in your business because you have movement. You will actually learn more by doing something than you ever will by just talking about it or thinking about it or pondering it. You really will learn more if you will go ahead and do it and be willing to let it be messy. Being messy is not something that you should be afraid of, ashamed of. You shouldn't be afraid to be messy. I'm going to give you a great example right now while you're listening to this podcast. I am in an area where there is a train that goes by every few minutes. I could not do this podcast because you're going to hear the train in the background. Or I can go ahead and do the podcast, help you learn that messy is beautiful, and both of us win from that, and you'll hear the train. I'm okay with the train. Are you? Because if you're not okay with the train in my podcast, I can tell you you're really hard on yourself. Don't be hard on you. Just get some movement in your business. You cannot have a sexy life without movement. You can't have a sexy business without movement. So being messy is not a bad thing. It also demonstrates that you're relatable. If everything I did was perfect, would you be able to relate to me? Because I can't relate to anyone that's perfect. I can relate to those who do things messy. I can relate to those who learn. I can relate to those who, are evolving along this course of entrepreneurship. I can't relate to someone who just knows everything and doesn't have to learn and doesn't have to do things and figure out things. So imagine if everyone in the world but you was doing things perfect. Would you feel like it was even possible for you to do the things you want to do? I think demonstrating messy is beautiful is actually a very beautiful process. It's something that causes people to realize they don't have to be perfect. If I can make, $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 or $1,000,000 while not being perfect, so can you. If I can demonstrate having great peeps, an incredible circle around me of people who are going in this direction also, and they don't mind the messy, wouldn't that be attractive to you, knowing that you can have great people in your life as well? I think it's an amazing process when we do business. And for some reason, we have it in our minds that we have to do it at a certain level or somehow we're a failure. Well, let me just help with that myth. You're not a failure. You just found a way not to do it. You found a way that you can do something better. You found a way to do something different. Our classes that are messy still help people grow exponentially. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to do better the next time. That doesn't mean that we're not going to try to improve them. It just means that this is how we did it this time. So I encourage you to be nice to yourself. Be kind to you. Be kind to your, what you think of yourself. Give yourself permission to be messy. Give yourself permission to do things that are not perfect. Give yourself permission to be human. We get it in our mind that we need to be, Superman or Superwoman. And the truth is, we don't have to be. I'm much more relatable because I have done things messy, but I've done them, than if I was still waiting to start doing something. And here's the thing, somebody's always going to come along and tell you can't do it. But when you've already done it, even if it's messy, it's too late. They can't talk you out of it. You've already done it. So I challenge you on this podcast to try something messy. Do something that you've been holding back on because you were afraid. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let anything hold you back. Give yourself permission to do things in a messy way. And you too can find out that messy is beautiful. Our next topic is going to be trust the process in our next podcast. You don't want to miss these first 101 podcasts on the My Sexy Business podcast because they're the foundational principles of what a sexy business and a sexy life look like. This is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I'll see you in the next podcast.